me, KNPB is people making a statement about what kind of television they wanted in their community.
The benefit is it's not just a 24 hours news cycle. It is not sales driven. It is mission driven.
Most viewers will see what we make once at best. So it has to make sense. The one time they see it, it has to be clear, and you have to be able to know what you're looking at and what you're hearing, and understand what concepts are being put forward. Otherwise, we didn't do our job. We did a series called Wild Nevada that was very popular and ran for 4 years in the early 2000s, and then we stopped for a number of reasons. And 12 years later, the demand has been continual to make new ones, and so finally, we're doing a new series. Hi, welcome to Wild Nevada. I'm Dave Santina.
And I'm Chris Orr. On this adventure, we're going to do something very special, which is climb a peak named for our dear friend Alvin McLean, a person who introduced us and probably you to more places than anyone.
But first, we're going to have a day of off-roading out here at Moon Rocks, and that includes some very special guests.
That's coming up next on Wild Nevada.
The whole Wild Nevada series, of course, has been a really fantastic experience because it introduced me to this state, really. I grew up here. I didn't know anything because I never went anywhere. Now I know a fair bit, and that's because of an experience like that. And that's fun. Anytime you have a fun experience at work, that's great because that's a bonus. Not everybody has fun doing their job. So I figure that I'm pretty lucky in that respect. I think maybe my favorite show we've ever done is the Work of Art, the first one, which was a profile of Jeff Ross, a photographer who, in his spare time, did projects that he felt passionate about.
We spent quite a bit of time with Eric. He's now a paraplegic, has no use. He's paralyzed from the waist down. He's doing exercises and mobility and just learning how to live in a wheelchair. You don't think about it, but how would you even bend over to pick something off the ground without crashing out of it? So they were teaching him those kinds of skills. So we're walking down the hall. Mike and I are following him. I am with the camera, Mike's with the lighting equipment. We're trying to get some shots of him in motion. And I said, Eric, do you mind if I ask you how this happened to you? And Eric said, well, I fell out of a second-story window. And then he stops his wheelchair and he looks up at me in my eyes and he says, well, Jeff, actually, I jumped.
That's a kind of a transformative experience for me. It's fun to go out and travel and go ziplining and do a Wild Nevada episode, but it's also really profound to meet somebody who is changed by his life experience and for the better, and then shares that with the rest of the world. And it made me happy to be able to share his story because it reached even more people. Because people do so many different kinds of things, it's hard to say producer or videographer or editor because Martin is all of those things. And so he is a content creator. He does it all.
Me and Bex are the two lead producers of Artifacts. So each week we take turns producing a show. I'll produce a show one week, she'll produce the next show. And we both research our own shows. And that means we research our subjects, we find out information about them, the type of art they do, or how many people are in the organization. And we'll script interview questions based on what we've researched about that person or group or whatever the story might be that we're looking to tell.
KNPB started Artifacts in February of 2016. It's a weekly art show, and we feature artists from all over the country, and we always, every week, feature a local artist or entity or organization that really deserves a recognition in the community.
In this edition of Artifacts, re-envisioning modern dance.
I just start wondering who decide what looks good. Maybe each person have their own movement in their body.
Painting with emotion.
I pay more attention to the inner dialogue and the dialogue between myself and the painting.
Tricking the eyes with art.
They'll ask me, like, how do you do that? Because it makes your eyes so crazy.
And locally, meet the Wild Women artists.
The Wild Women Artists are a group of 13 women artists who live in northern Nevada and the Sierra Nevada mountains.
It's all ahead on this edition of Artifacts.
My favorite part about my job is being able to tell stories. I love meeting local artists who are passionate because I'm always inspired when we return to the station. I can't wait to log their interview. I can't wait to condense their interview into a 3 to 4 minute piece and tell their story. If I can encapsulate everything that I experience with this person, then I know that I've done my job right. Most of all, I enjoy the kids programming. I have a 4-year-old and an 11-year-old. The 4-year-old's favorite show is Wild Kratts, and I may not be actively watching with her because I don't have the time, but she watches that every morning, and I love the programming that KMPB provides. It's just, I have no question about what she's watching, and I know that she's learning a little something along the way.
We're in the schools. We're doing Ready to Learn workshops. We are doing the PBS Writers Contest, where we send out facilitators that teach kids how to write stories, and then they submit them, and we do a contest every year, and the winner's going to be on air. I think that is so cool for these little kids to see themselves on air and their parents.
3, 2, 1.
It seeps into your life, and you don't even know how we are in the community, but we could not be here without the community, so it's a really nice balance between the two. We rely on the community to support us, and we hope we're able to serve the community just as well.
The value of public broadcasting is something that is often questioned. It gives authentic voices opportunities. In addition to that, there is value, even in today's world, for free content for all.